September 11th, 2003. A soundstage in Studio City. John Ritter is rehearsing a scene for a new show, 8 Simple Rules. He jokes with the crew between takes. Then he says his chest hurts. Nobody thinks much of it. He's 54, he's Jack Tripper, he's been falling over furniture on camera for 3 decades and getting back up every time. He doesn't get back up this time. 4 hours later, he's dead. Aortic dissection. And somewhere in that same city, his youngest daughter is turning 5 years old. Today, that exact day. This is the story of the people behind Three's Company. A show built entirely on pratfalls and misunderstandings, played by a cast whose actual lives read nothing like the scripts they were handed. Before any of this, ABC almost didn't cast him at all. John Ritter had trained his whole life for physical comedy, the kind of loose-limbed, take-a-fall-and-sell-it comedy that goes back to vaudeville. He could time a pratfall to the frame, but early in development, network executives got nervous. They thought his performance as a straight man pretending to be gay read as too effeminate for prime time in 1976. There were real conversations about pulling him from the role before the pilot even aired. One man at the network pushed back and kept him in the part. That decision alone is the reason Three's Company became 26 years of sitcom history. Because without Ritter, there's no Jack Tripper, and without Jack Tripper, there's no show. He spent the next several years turning himself into a human sight gag. Doors, ladders, motorcycles, trays of food. He fell for all of it and made it look effortless, which is the hardest kind of physical comedy to do. Effortless is not the word for how he died. It was fast, preventable, maybe if anyone had caught it sooner. And it happened on a set, doing the job on his little girl's birthday. Suzanne Somers played Chrissy Snow as an airhead. Sweet, ditzy, forgettable by design. Off camera, she was doing math the network didn't like. By season 4, Three's Company was one of the biggest shows on television, and Somers wanted equal pay to Ritter. $150,000 an episode, the same number he was getting. She wasn't asking for more than the lead. She was asking for the same as him. The response wasn't a negotiation. It was a freeze-out. Somers has described being cut off from her own castmates during that period. Not spoken to, not included, treated as a problem to be waited out rather than a colleague to be dealt with. And it worked in the way that punishments are designed to work. The other women on that set watched what happened to her and stayed quiet about their own pay for 8 years afterward. Nobody wanted to be next. She was let go after that season. Here's where the story could have ended small. It didn't. Suzanne Somers grew up in a house with a father whose drinking made the whole home unpredictable and, at times, violent. She'd already survived worse than Hollywood by the time Hollywood turned on her. She went on to build a fitness and wellness business empire, reportedly worth around $300 million. She stayed married to the same man for 46 years. And in October 2023, she died of breast cancer, a disease she'd been fighting on and off for over 2 decades. One day before her 77th birthday. One day, close enough to taste it. Norman Fell played Mr. Roper as cheap, nosy, exhausted by his tenants and his own marriage. A small, grumbling man audiences love to roll their eyes at. Here's what wasn't in the script. Fell served in World War II as a tail gunner on a B-24 Liberator, flying missions over the Pacific. Tail gunner was statistically one of the most dangerous positions on the plane, the most exposed, the most targeted. He's credited with 2 confirmed kills against enemy fighters. He came home from a war that killed men in his exact seat with rifle precision odds against him. 20 years later, he's playing a man who can't handle his own tenants' relationship drama. Fell died of bone marrow cancer at 74. Whatever people thought of Mr. Roper, and a lot of people found him grating on purpose, that was the role. The man playing him had already faced something the character never could have survived. Audrey Lindley's Mrs. Roper was written as sex-starved and lonely, endlessly disappointed by a husband who wasn't interested. The actress behind her left high school at 15 to work as a stunt double. She married a Harvard-trained doctor and later a well-known actor. 2 marriages, both two accomplished men, in a life that had very little in common with her character's frustrated loneliness. She worked steadily for decades and died of leukemia at 79, reportedly still taking roles until her body simply wouldn't let her continue. The gap between what she played and how she lived is almost the whole joke of this show, in miniature. Joyce DeWitt played Janet as the grounded one, the roommate holding the other two together. Off-screen, she made a decision early and kept it. No marriage, no children. A deliberate choice, not an accident of circumstance. She also didn't speak to Suzanne Somers for 31 years. Whatever the truth of the pay dispute, and there are different versions depending on who's telling it, the fallout didn't stay contained to a boardroom. It split two women who'd played best friends on national television every week for years, and it kept them apart for 3 decades. They finally reconciled in 2012. Somers has spoken about that reunion warmly. It came late. It still came. Before the money fight, there was a photograph, a magazine shoot, mid-run, at the height of the show's success. Newsweek wanted the trio together for a cover. Somers had her own solo shots done around the same session, some of them in front of a colored screen, in a nightgown. Nothing scandalous by itself. But somewhere in the editing process, one of those solo shots got superimposed over the group image Newsweek was running. Ritter and DeWitt saw it before it published. They weren't happy. It sounds small. A photo composite, a magazine layout, the kind of thing nobody outside the industry would think twice about. But on a 3-person ensemble where the whole appeal was supposed to be equal footing, it read as something else. One roommate trying to become the star while the other two stayed scenery. Chris Mann, who spent years interviewing the cast and crew for his book on the show, has pointed to that shoot as the moment the tension actually started. Not the contract. The picture. The guard at the door. By season 5, that tension had a name and a number attached to it. $150,000. When the number didn't get approved and Somers didn't back down, the show did something almost nobody expected. She wasn't fired outright. Not yet. She still owed episodes on her contract. But she was no longer allowed near the rest of the cast. Her scenes were rewritten as phone calls. Chrissy on one end of the line, Janet and Jack on the other, filmed on a separate side stage, so the two halves of the conversation never had to share a room. And to get from her dressing room to that side stage and back, Somers was escorted by a police guard. Think about what that actually looked like. A sitcom about a man faking a relationship status to keep the peace with his landlord. And meanwhile, on the real set, an actress needed a security escort to walk from one soundstage to another so she wouldn't run into her own castmates. Nobody wrote that scene. Nobody had to. After Somers left, the show needed a new Chrissy-type character, and it went through 2 women who inherited a job nobody envied. Priscilla Barnes stepped into the role next, playing Terry, a nurse. She since called her time on the show the 3 worst years of her life. Not because of the work itself, but because of the tension still hanging over that set from what happened to Somers. She walked into a room that hadn't finished being angry. Before her, Jenna Lee Harrison played Cindy, and she was handed almost no direction beyond dumb blonde. She played it because that's what the part called for. What the part didn't call for was the truth. Harrison was a USC honors graduate and a competitive amateur race car driver. Doing donuts on actual tracks in her off time, while pretending on camera, she couldn't follow a simple sentence. Don Knotts arrived later as Mr. Furley, a landlord who saw himself as a smooth ladies' man and was, obviously, anything but. Broad, silly, a character built for easy laughs. Knotts carried real weight most audiences never saw. He lived with depression for years. He was, by his own account and others, a serious hypochondriac, which is its own kind of dark irony, given what was actually coming for him. His eyesight was failing from macular degeneration, and near the end of his life, he was diagnosed with terminal lung cancer and chose to keep it quiet, kept working, kept showing up. He died in 2006. By most accounts, he was cracking jokes close to the end. Jokes sharp enough that his own daughter reportedly had to step out of the room because she couldn't stop laughing. That's not a tidy ending. That's just who he was. There's no clean thread that ties all of this together except the show itself. And maybe that's the point. A landlord who survived aerial combat. A comedian who died laughing at his own death. A woman punished for asking to be paid fairly, who buried that entire chapter under a business empire and a decades-long marriage, and ran out the clock one day short of her own birthday. Three's Company ran from 1977 to 1984. It was about mistaken identities, a man pretending to be something he wasn't, so three roommates could keep an apartment nobody would rent them otherwise. Everyone on that show, it turns out, was pretending to be something too. If you want the story behind another sitcom's laugh track, you know where to find it.
3 roommates, 1 lie, and 8 seasons of laughs. What came after wasn't scripted, and it wasn't funny.